I'm being joined today by Charles Linney, the Executive Director of Linney. Needless to say, there's some connection between the company and the gentleman sitting in the armchair in a TV studio, the facilities of which are far superior to anything that we have at Haikon. Anyway, hello, Charles. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Simon, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate your time. So let me just tell our audience what they can expect. We are going to have a chat for the next 40 minutes or so, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask live questions at the end. The live questions are via the chat box. We're not going to actually open your mics, but you'll be able to put the text in at any time, and our wonderful back office team will keep an eye on them, and we will make sure that we raise them at the end of the call. And if we run out of time, we'll try and take the questions offline with you. So thanks for joining us. We hope you're going to enjoy this. And without any further ado, Charles, tell us about Linney, please.
A bit of background about the business?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So this business has been in kind of various forms for probably the last 170 years. So it's founded 170 years ago by my great-grandfather as a small bookshop, pretty much in the same town that we're in now. So in Mansfield in England. And it's had various lives, but a lot of that was spent in the newspapers. So fun enough, actually, we never used to print our newspapers, but we wrote them, sold them, and produced them. We were in kind of papers for probably 70, 80 years or so. In 1996, we sold our newspaper group, and that was the beginning of the business as it is today. I sometimes say that we kind of kept on the creative side of the papers, which was at the time designing adverts, the printing side that was actually printing inserts, and the distribution side that was distributing papers. So they were the kind of three founding pillars. And now we've ended up today with a pretty complicated business, actually, offering lots of channels to lots of different people. It's much easier if I play you a short video, and that will show you the business as it is today. And hopefully that'll show you what we do.
In changing times, make change work for your business. Welcome to Linney, one of the UK's leading marketing businesses, helping some of the world's leading brands with big ideas that get noticed. So, even if you don't know our name, you'll certainly know our work on your phone or laptop, on the high street, at the roadside, on TV and radio, or through your door. We design, develop, and deliver powerful communications to cut through the noise. Starting with insight, using psychology and technology to truly understand customer behavior, from large-scale consumer studies to intimate investigations. It's all designed to take the subjectivity out of marketing and create work that works. And here's where insight becomes inspiration. In one of the largest creative studios outside London. Across branding, advertising, filmmaking, design and development, we create powerful campaigns to drive interest and build sales. And 3D environments and experiences that recreate the real world, or imagine what it could be. From ideas to engineers, we're makers and builders of software and systems that work seamlessly together to streamline your marketing. And of paper and cardboard, creating award-winning displays with less waste, less cost, and more impact. And world-class print from some of the most efficient print machines in the world. When we activate your marketing campaign, we bring everything together. The right message to the right place at the right time. On a digital screen, or stored, scheduled, and shared from automated warehousing, operating 24/7. Taking your message to the UK, Europe, and beyond. Or taking your customer through an integrated e-commerce journey, from first click to final dispatch. Before we monitor the data, crunch the numbers, and report back to evaluate the success of your campaign. We're a family business, and that matters. It means we take a long view, building long-term relationships with the businesses we work with, and investing for the future to make a difference now. Take Regenerate. It's our way of building a sustainable business, repurposing, retrading and rethinking the way we work for our own future, our local Nottinghamshire communities and for yours. And it means when the world changes, we're ready. With new ways of working, remote systems and technology, and an appetite for what's new and what's next. So, wherever and whenever you need us, we'll help you find new marketing opportunities in changing times. And these are changing times.
Thank you. That's mighty impressive. You're a very atypical Haikon customer, but an inspirational one by the looks of it.
It's easier with the video. So,
so given that it talks about change and trends at the very end of the video, maybe that's the right place to go next. Can you talk about the trends that are affecting your business? And we know we're hopefully coming out of what has been the most extraordinary 18 months, probably in your lifetime and mine. How are the trends in the environment? What are the trends in your environment and how they're affecting your business?
As you say, yeah, I'm not sure if we're coming out of it just yet, but we are the other side of the middle, should we say. The last probably 18 months, it has changed, I think, most businesses in one way or the other. I think it's definitely speeded up change. I think that video was made soon after the pandemic happened, actually, because we couldn't get people to the site very easily. But I think, people's online behavior has definitely changed. And I think, we need to adapt with that. I think, convenience and everyone wants everything all the time straight away at the moment. So that's definitely been accelerated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's move on from the overview of Linney and start talking about Linney and Haikon. If you could tell me, please, what product did you buy, when, and why?
So we purchased a Beam 2. I keep on wanting to say C at the end of it, but it's not a C, it's a Beam 2. And again, this was actually pretty early on in the pandemic when we bought it. So that kind of covers two of them. And why? Essentially, it did what we were looking for. So we are always on the lookout for new ways of doing things. And that side of our business, the kind of 3D display side, had been growing. We were doing a lot of outwork for die cutting, and essentially we were looking to bring that in. We've always grown the business by analyzing numbers very carefully. We take some risks, but we don't take, they're normally calculated risks. So we were looking at what we were spending on outwork, what we were spending on forms. In fact, at one point we even started to look at, do we go into die making ourselves? Then that was the beginning of the kind of calculation. And in the end, it ended up being a Beam 2.
Okay. What was can you describe the decision process? Were there any key junctions in the decision process that were critical in making that decision?
I mean, it wasn't a normal decision-making process because we were bang in the middle of a pandemic. I think we bought 2 bits of kit at that time. One was out of a company in Belgium, I think, that wasn't doing particularly well. The borders were closing, all that kind of stuff. So it was a difficult time to invest. With this one, you guys were, you were very persuasive, shall I say. I think, we were at the right time, in the right place, with the right machine. It just, everything kind of fell in line. I think sometimes you've got to ignore what's happening and look at the bigger picture. So, a very difficult time to make a decision. But actually, we believed in our products, we believed in our clients, and we believed in our people to be able to implement it at a difficult time. And ultimately, we believed in the Haikon.
And you'd done some diligence on this before the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah, we were very lucky with that. I mean, buying one of these cold is quite something to do. But no, we had seen, we knew of the business, we knew of the people who work in the business, and we had already done some trials. So that again took a lot of the risk out of it. As I say, it was exactly the right time for us, and we were lucky to have had the time to investigate the product properly. We always like to go and have a look at kit. We like to trial it. We don't like surprises. Yeah.
So one of the perceptions is that display is very large format, and Haikon is a B1 format. Were there challenges in terms of the sheet size and the business that you were looking to address? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, we had the data, so we knew exactly what our rule lengths were. We knew what the finished size was. We knew what the raw material size was. We knew how many sheets we were printing. It was a calculated decision. Our busiest machine we've got at the moment is our large format die cutter. So if you were ever to go down the large format route, we'd be very interested.
Okay, but you had a load of work in B1.
Yeah, we had a load of work. So essentially, our side of display is either shelf products that sit on the shelf, or products that stand on the floor. And what the Haikon has done is it's taken a lot of the kind of what we call trays and hotspots work.
Trays and hotspots. Okay, so you've had the machine for roughly a year. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, it's been a great investment, and you guys have provided us with a lot of information to tell us our run speeds, our make ready speeds, how much dart we're using. The detail that you've got is great. It is very, very good. We're delighted with the machine. We don't want to be on I call it the bleeding edge. We want to be on the leading edge, and I think we've entered this investment at the right time for us, and we're delighted with it.
Great. How much is it running?
It's we're running on what we call continental shifts over here, so that is 24/7. Yeah, and we were lucky actually. We had we didn't recruit new people to run the machine. We took them from within the business. Half came from our kind of analog die cutting, half came from our indigo printing actually, and they met at different learnings, and all of them work pretty well, work very well.
And as operators, are they Are they pleased with what they're doing? Are they enjoying it? Are they satisfied?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
And what do you see Haikon is doing for your business?
Haikon, essentially, I think what we sell is speed to market a lot of the time. People are looking to make decisions quickly and have them implemented. Haikon will take hours, if not days, out of our supply chain. We know that we can push it further. At the moment, what I know we've done is convert analog work into digital work. And then there's a whole new piece after that says, there's certain products that can't be done anywhere else, or with any other technology. And that's the next step for us, really, to get our creative guys really into that. So making the most of the technology rather than just moving workload. Outworking obviously works, and changing from analog to digital obviously works, but then there's a whole new piece of work there that we're not in at the moment, because perhaps some of it doesn't even exist yet. I always think for the greeting cards that you could come up with some phenomenal designs that can't actually be done at the moment, or at least can't be done in any serious quantity.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's also inherent in digital technology that the first thing you do is you do the things that lead to greater productivity, efficiency, lower costs. But longer term, you look for opportunities for growth by doing new things. And combination is what maxes out the potential of digital. So is there anything that you know now that you'd wish you'd known earlier in the process?
There's always that stuff, isn't there? I think if you look at our journey into die cutting, this is probably our fourth or fifth machine, I think. Sometimes it would have been nice to know that we were going to end up with one of these and make the jump straight into this instead of buying the kit and depreciating the kit and running the kit and servicing the kit. But it wasn't there when we started our journey in die cutting, but that would have been it. It's been a learning curve, of course it has. And there's certain parts of our journey that we didn't know when we were buying the kit. A lot of preparing files for the laser cutter. That was actually being done by our die manufacturer before, so that came as a bit of a surprise, but not we overcame that quite easily.
So you've taken on another role, which is actually preparing the digital die cutting file. You had to learn some new stuff. But now,
we did. I mean, we knew the software that it was in, so it wasn't a huge jump, but it was definitely something that was being done for us that probably we didn't realize at the time. Yeah.
Right. And what about feedback on Haikon as a vendor? How are we doing?
Yeah, you guys have done a good job. You genuinely have. I think if you look at the time we bought this was probably the most difficult time you could ever try and implement a new machine, new ways of working, etc. And you have been there the whole way through. I think if you ask the guys in the business, I think the training was exceptional. I think as a business, we always try and train more people than the standard, should we say, and you were accommodating with that. Generally, we couldn't have been happier. So thank you very much for helping us with that.
Thank you very much. So let's move on now and kind of connect Haikon and the market and ask a bunch of questions there. The first one that I have is, the Haikon changes some of the paradigms of costs. You don't have the same level of tooling costs that you previously had. How do you think about savings to customers versus pocketing the savings within your own business?
You can't pocket all the savings all the time. You've got to take your customers on the journey. But at the same time, you've got to pay off the kit, otherwise you can't invest. So we try and meet them in the middle. We're after very long-term relationships with our customers, and we have a roadmap where we want to deliver innovations and savings all the time. One of the things I think you're overlooking is just the speed to market. Being able to turn things around incredibly quickly is really important.
And that indeed was my next question. Talk to me about the turnaround time and what that does.
Well, we've got a little video that we can kind of show, and I think a lot of the people looking at this will probably know this stuff. But in the old days, we'd pick up the phone to the die maker, or we'd send them some electronic information, and we'd say we need a form for this, and that would probably take between 24 hours and 48 hours. If you look at the video that's showing, you can see the dart being printed now. That is literally 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and we're off and running. So that's made a huge difference in the speed to market that we've got.
And that's something that your customers have felt. You're passing that on to them, getting the job out the door faster than previously possible.
Well, either getting it turned around faster than it's previously possible, or just never letting them down. The two are quite closely linked.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people talk about a swan and the legs going underneath, but it allows us to deliver on time, on quality, on cost.
Okay. Sustainability. People talk about it a lot. How does Haikon contribute to Linney's take on sustainability?
Yeah, well, we're following the sustainability with an incredibly close eye at the moment. If you look at a lot of companies, they start off with zero landfill. Unfortunately, a form is not great. It's full of razors, plastic and glue, or wooden glue. So that's removed a lot of that from our business, which we're very proud of.
And altogether, I think the Linney's got some pretty aggressive sustainability targets, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're proud to be a carbon neutral business. I think in our market and in our size, we're probably, it's a very small club that. But we believe that is exactly the right thing to do. If we don't do it now, we're all going to end up in a bit of hot water, should we say?
A bit.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive because there aren't many businesses altogether, and certainly not of your scale, that have taken on a commitment to be carbon neutral. So done.
Thank you.
We talked a little bit about efficiency versus business growth. Do you believe that the Haikon investment was going to help you drive growth for Linney in the coming years?
Look, I'd hope so. The thing, you might love to hear this, but it's already pretty full. So we're running at 24/7 at the moment. We may even need another one if we continue like this.
I'd be glad to help you.
I thought you might say that. Yeah. So yeah, I think going back onto the sustainability question, going back onto the speed to market, going back onto the cost and never letting people down on timings. Yeah, it all adds up and tells a story. So I would presume it will help. Yeah.
Okay. Supply chain simplification is a hot topic. One of the things that I think people saw during the pandemic was that they had to have shorter, simpler supply chains. How do you see that as a business today?
Well, you saw the video. We like to be in control. So pretty much Outwork In has been a supply chain simplification strategy, if you want to call it that, for 20, 30 years, really. The Haikon itself, it just takes the whole die making completely out of the question. So that has helped.
Okay, and as I understand it, you're working with what I guess would be called top tier brands.
Yeah, we're incredibly lucky with the people we work with. We've got some fantastic clients, and we've worked with them for a very long period of time, and hope to continue to do so. I think top tier, especially in a pandemic, actually is more important than ever. Really, I think the top tier seem to be getting stronger. I think, and probably have come back quicker.
And have your customers from the brands had any questions about this new technology? Have you talked to them about it, or it's just transparent for them?
No, absolutely. Whenever you're early into a market and investing in kit that is kind of game changing, we shout from the rooftops about it. Sustainability for a lot of retailers is an incredibly hot topic at the moment. I think a lot of them like what we're doing from the carbon neutral side, but they also like what we're doing on our investments and things like Haikon.
And do they have any concerns about quality as compared to conventional die cutting, or they trust you on that?
I think quality is a given. It's got to be the right quality, otherwise we can't produce that and send that out into the market. I think everyone that walks past the Haikon still looking for burn marks and things like that. And I don't know how you guys have done it, but it's very impressive.
Great, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Mm.
So I think it's time to kind of now take a glance towards the future. You've talked about Linney as a business, and you have a very diversified business. You've talked about the application space, which is particularly important for where Haikon is playing, which is part of the retail display place, whether it's floor displays or shelf displays. What are your aspirations for that display market and your expectations of what we can expect in the next couple of years?
Well, I think you'll definitely see a lot more digital involvement with it, not digital print, but kind of electronic. I think you'll see data being used a lot more in this field. I think if you look at our business, we're forever trying to have what I call tier 1 and tier 2 revenues, and we've been lucky that if you look at our our inside, our digital, our moving images, our film, that is a very big part of our business now. And I think what we'll see is those technologies merging much more.
Great. I think it's time to move on to the Q&A. We have a couple of questions in the question box. So let me ask you, let me start with one.
Yeah.
The question was, the anonymous attendee asked, did Linney market the purchase of the beam to see as a sustainable move to your customers, or is it seen as an extra?
I think it's seen as a given in the business that we are. If there is a better way of doing things, we need to be buying that. So typically, if you do have a look around the business, and anyone is welcome to come and have a look. We'd love to host you here if you're in the UK. You'll see certain machines are older than others, but when there hasn't been a big shift in technology, we look after our kit very well and maintain it. The minute there is a shift, we want to be on that. Otherwise, someone else is going to buy it, and someone else will be able to offer the products that we are doing, maybe not as creatively, but actually some of what we're still doing is a commodity. And if you're trying to compete against someone in the digital world when you're still using analog kit, that's hard. So I think it was a given. It's good that it's a sustainable product. It's great that it's a sustainable product, but that goes hand in hand with just the continual drive for being as efficient as we can be.
Okay. Another question was, what alternative equipment were you looking at during your purchasing decision process?
Yeah, we had a look. I'm not going to name brands, but there was a smaller version that had in my view was the first one we came up with. Actually, I met a guy at a conference somewhere. He had some interesting kit, but the format wasn't big enough for us. But I think they've been quite successful. There's another company in Italy that we had a look at. And you vote with your feet, don't you? So we've ended up with a Haikon. Lucky for you guys, we are pretty loyal actually. So if you have a look here, it's a big Heidelberg house. It's a big HP house. Hopefully it'll be a big Haikon house.
We share that hope. Let me ask the audience out there whether they have any more questions, because right now we've addressed the questions in the box. Here we are. Which materials are you cutting with the Beam 2?
Yeah, so we do a lot of paper, folding box board, and fluted board. And you guys were really great actually early on, working with us, changing our fluted board actually to open flute, which again actually delivered a cost saving and a better product. So I think it was Motti, if he's listening, thank you. But yeah, that was a problem that we had to overcome early on, and was solved at a remarkable speed actually. So thank you. Great,
thank you for that. And someone has just written a question. This is somebody that you know. How has the Haikon beam helped with the stripping and with stripping the point of sale items? Yeah. It does a lot of the work for us. I mean, with point of sale, if you remember on the video, you've got an awful lot of kind of small, I think they're called selectors, where we're putting products in them. They're a nightmare to strip, but actually with the beam, they get kind of brushed out on the way through. So that has been very helpful. Great. And so that's important because that's labor that gets saved. Yeah, I mean, it's your old-fashioned CapEx form, isn't it? Cash in, cash out, and stripping things like that. They cost money. Yeah, they definitely do. They take time, and quite difficult to automate unless you can do it in the die cutting or laser cutting. But the nice thing about this is you're not buying another form of kind of stripping form. It's built in. The last question currently in the chat box is this: in comparison to analog cutting, which number of you do you produce with each method? Is there something like a break even between analog and digital? Well, yeah, there definitely is. I think if you had a run length of 1 million, you would go for analog every time.
The reason the beams really work for us is that a lot of the work we're doing is, the kind of 500 to 1500. So I think that's absolutely in the sweet spot. I think typically we were probably doing 2 or 3 jobs a shift, and now we're doing 10 to 14 jobs a shift. So you can really see that impact there. And to be able to be running 24/7, that's meant we've brought a lot of work back in, which has helped enormously on turnaround times, on control, on quality. I don't know if we're one of the guys that have just got exactly the right work for the machine, I hope other people will experience the same gains.
One of the things that I think is so important is that people open their minds to what is possible, because some people approach these questions without the openness that Linney brought to the analysis. And people who open their minds find opportunities much more easily, right?
Yeah. And I think you've got to trust people as well. You guys, it was a big investment, and I think sharing our method on the way through helped us both understand kind of where we needed to be and what we were worried about. It's a great partnership. It's not a good partnership. We enjoy working together and hope to for the foreseeable.
So do we. There's one more question here. How is the laser quality?
It's super. I mean, if you are going to regret saying this, but for the people that are watching, if you'd like to do some trials, drop us a line, and we can show you. But I think it is, it's great, very, very good. The laser quality is obviously the cutting side of it, and then you've got the creasing side of it. What you may find is that a lot of your creasing can be done with the laser as well, which means less polymer, which means less cost. And we've been quite lucky there as well. A lot of our products lend themselves to that too. But the dart and foil crease is equally good, absolutely fit for purpose.
Thank you. We've run out of questions, so it's probably time to wrap up. I was going to share the screen to put up a slide with our contact details and a scan code for the next Fireside Chat next week, but I've been disabled. My screen sharing has been disabled, so I can't actually put up the slide. So if Neil can solve that, I'll put it up. In the meantime, I'm going to say thank you to you, Charles, for joining us and being so open. But more generally, thank you for the confidence you placed in Haikon at what you said was one of the most opportune yet inopportune moments in recent history. And we thank you for your confidence, for the partnership. And we too are enjoying very much working with you and your team. And there I'm able to share the slide. Thank you for that. And thank you for your time, and thank you to the audience out there. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your questions. And we have another Fireside Chat next week on Wednesday at the same time of day with Jordan Patterson, who's the Vice President of Virtual Packaging in the United States, a very different business, but is part of the beauty. Haikon works for all kinds of scenarios. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Charles.
Thanks, Simon.